What if you had instant analytics on your PDP images and a faster way to create content that performs better? That's what we're diving into in today's episode, how top brands and retailers are using analytics and automation to stay ahead across retail media and the digital shelf. It's Rapid helps teams scale smarter. They analyze image performance, they help you create optimized assets for retail media networks and the digital shelf, and they integrate directly with PIM and DAM systems for seamless execution. Brands like Pepsi, Mondelez, and Instacart use its Rapid to go beyond basic tools to uncover gaps in PDP and retail media performance by analyzing the images themselves, not just the count. Streamline banner creation across hundreds of formats for Amazon Ads, Walmart Connect, and other retail and social platforms, and launch high-performing content more than 80% faster across e-commerce and marketing channels. If you're buried in manual work or struggling to keep up, this episode and It's Rapid will show you a better way. Visit itsrapid.ai to learn more.
Welcome to Beyond the Shelf with Dave Feinlieb. This show is an open exploration of the people and process behind e-commerce. Through conversations with innovators in the space, we learn the stories of these leaders and their strategies for e-commerce success. We publish new episodes every Tuesday morning, so be sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. And now, here's your host, Dave Feinlieb.
Welcome back to Beyond the Shelf. I'm Dave Feinlieb, your host. My guest today is Daniel Kleinkopf, Vice President of Marketing and Technology at Waiākea Hawaiian Volcanic Beverages. Daniel helps drive brand growth across e-commerce, retail, digital media, and consumer engagement channels with responsibilities spanning everything from content and creative strategy to data, systems, and innovation. His role gives him a unique perspective on how consumer brands are adapting to an increasingly digital and technology-driven marketplace. Waiākea has built a strong reputation not only as a fast-growing beverage brand, but also as a company committed to sustainability and innovation. From signing major ambassadors like Aaron Judge, Miles Garrett, and Clay Thompson, to digital shelf execution in retail media, AI, automation, and environmentally conscious initiatives, Daniel is helping shape how the brand connects with consumers and scales for the future. Today, we'll talk about e-commerce growth, content and creative strategy, AI and automation, and how sustainability continues to influence the way Waiākea builds and grows its brand. Daniel, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Great to be here.
Great to have you on the show. Take us back. How'd you get your start in the space?
I started in e-commerce about 15 years ago. I was originally working at Sony Pictures, working at Crackle for streaming. Then I left there to work for a digital agency that did a lot of website building at the time. They did not have a marketing branch, which we started. And then we started working with brands like Oliver Peoples. It was transitioning to a Luxottica brand. It was very heavy retail to take them online in the early days of e-commerce. And then after a long time working with a lot of different brands, I had transitioned to a B2B software company. And then about 6 years ago, started with Waiākea to combine a lot of the B2B experience with the e-commerce experience and the overall marketing experience.
Amazing. Tell us about Waiākea. It's a great story.
Yeah, Waiākea was founded in 2012 by Ryan Emmons and a couple other co-founders. Ryan's now currently the president and CEO of Waiākea. He started it as a project at USC as partially business school related, and it developed into his actual passion project or brand that he's been developing for the last 14 years. So it was built on three principles, really a triple bottom line, so people and planet can coexist with profit. And so that led to the three pillars of Waiākea, which are healthy, sustainable, and ethical. So healthy being it's a naturally alkaline water. It's not super filtered tap water like a lot of bottled water out there. It's from Hawaii. It's from the volcanic filtration from the rocks. It's over 15,000 feet of elevation. The water trickles down all the way through to our deep well, and picks up all the natural minerals. So, not saying it's the healthiest water, healthier than any other natural water, but it has a neat, unique, distinct profile. It's a very healthy choice in terms of beverages. And then sustainable, Ryan definitely did not want to create another bottled water brand that uses virgin plastic. So we were one of the first in the world to use 100% recycled plastic back in 2012, and have since innovated that bottle to our Ocean Plast, which uses ocean-bound plastic to make sure that we're preventing as much plastic as possible from reaching the ocean and recycling it. Since then, we've launched other sustainable products. Our glass line is the newest. We also have algae ink that we've introduced on labels, and we have an aluminum line as well. So we are trying to give consumers the most sustainable choice for their lifestyle, not necessarily say, hey, this is what you have to do to be sustainable. And then the last one would be ethical. So Ryan has always wanted to give back to the community, especially being a company from Hawaii. For the last 12 years, we've been doing a lot of community work. In the last 2 years, we've actually gotten our Kukua initiative certified as a 501c3 nonprofit. And Jolie Ng has done an amazing job of running that program, impacting over 200,000 lives in Hawaii in various levels. And she just continues to find new ways to help people throughout the community. And so those three pillars have always been the foundation of Waiākea. Obviously, the product has to be excellent to be successful. As you know, in beverage, it can be a little bit difficult. So the last 14 years being a private company in beverage has been a little bit of a roller coaster ride, but we've been really lucky to have a great product that consumers love. And we continue to push behind that in new lanes and new channels 14 years in.
Amazing. Great initiatives. And what a great story. So excited to dig into it. Tell us about, first off, growth. How do you do, maybe just at a high level, what does marketing and content look like for you at Waiākea?
Yeah, so I mean, it's a little bit tricky because we don't have big soda budgets where we're just spending like crazy. So we also have to make sure that we're supporting our retail channels and our e-commerce channels. It's very easy to look at conversion rates and really hone in on ads that are converting on e-commerce, but you also have to look at our entire customer base and understand that e-commerce is a large, expensive case, and in retail is one bottle of water. So we can't narrow our consumers too much, and we have to have content that is authentic to our Hawaiian roots, but also speaks to the consumer wherever they are.
And how do you think about kind of all the different channels? You sell direct, you've got retail. So tell us about the mix there and kind of how that works for you.
Yeah, so we used to try to be really particular about the mix and the funnel and where we're sending the traffic. But at the end of the day, we realized that the consumer is going to buy the water where they shop for water, where they want to buy the water, not necessarily where we want them to. So in the last 3 to 4 years, we've really become agnostic on where they buy. And our job is to get the brand in front of them, get them engaged in the brand, make them interested in the product. Hopefully they understand a few or at least one of the pillars that we mentioned. And then as they consume the product, they come back and they start to understand more about the brand, more about what we do and which parts they connect with.
When it comes to the e-commerce part, tell us a little bit about Amazon and how's that working for you?
Yeah, so Amazon for us is a little bit different than I think a lot of people. It's actually been a great lever for us. We have some pretty strong numbers, some pretty decent margins there, and I think a lot of it is because beverage is really hard to ship. So for us, shipping on our Shopify site, the amount of volume we could do could never compare to Amazon shipping. So their shipping rates for beverage are much better. And we use Vendor Central, so we have negotiated rates versus if we used Seller Central, we'd be getting charged heavy liquid fees and 30-pound overage fees, and it would just erode everything. So we found the sweet spot with Vendor Central, where we can handle the shipping a lot better. We still run our Shopify site. We still ship direct there. We still love our Shopify customers who tend to be more of our core customers. But yeah, we've really leaned in on Amazon. We've made sure that all of our channels are at a place where we're okay with the margin, and that allows us to be agnostic and let the customer decide where they want to buy Waiākea.
So if I understand it right, even though the top line, so to speak, might be better because you hold on to more of the total purchase in a direct scenario, because of the shipping costs improvement through Amazon in this particular case, that might make more sense from a margin perspective. So with that in mind, you're kind of, it's okay if you get a shopper that way or through the D2C site.
Exactly, exactly. The fees for us to ship on Shopify are so high, like through FedEx or UPS or however we ship, that cuts out any gains that we would have
Yeah.
from Vendor Central and being direct. So it ends up making it a wholesale pricing anyway. So
Yeah.
without getting into too much detail, they all end up being somewhat similar in margin, and you can do a little bit of pricing exercises to make sure that's more so the case. But yeah, that's really allowed us to be a lot more free with our advertising dollars, make sure that we're going for the best like overall bang for our buck in terms of impressions and engagement,
Yeah.
and not just, hey, does this person go all the way down the funnel?
Yeah, this is a great insight for our listeners who maybe have D2C or are thinking about D2C. Maybe they're only on a retail.com site today. What are some of your learnings in terms of your ad strategy or content or things you do similarly or differently on those different channels?
Yeah, I mean, we've learned that there's definitely a mix of ads that a lot of our different consumers respond to, and finding the right channel or the right audience is definitely important. We lean in a lot on the look of our product. We have a great looking blue bottle. I can show you really quickly. It definitely stands out. We want to
Yeah.
make sure it looks refreshing and cold on hot days. So our summer ads will be a lot more zoomed in on the product, with some condensation and really looking great, but then we'll always back them up with some lifestyle ads. So we work with a lot of different content creators, from NFL football players to professional surfers to well-known Hawaiian creators. And so depending on where you are in our audience, we like to try to find the analogous ad creative to go along with your lifestyle, or at least that you can relate to, based on the targeting. So we try to have a combination of beautiful product imagery that makes you really thirsty on a hot summer day, and then also showcasing some of that lifestyle, whether it's performance based, athlete based, or Hawaiian vacation. We know everybody loves Hawaii for to various degrees, and we try to make sure that we represent that in an authentic way where they're seeing what Hawaii is really like.
Yeah, this is great. So many great insights, both on how to present the product, but also all the visuals that go along with it, and reaching the right audience. So thanks for sharing that. You recently launched in Japan. You've been here, and tell us about that. How's the launch going? What all was involved?
Yeah, very excited for the launch in Japan. It's been a long road. Japan has like a lot of different, I guess you call them regulations and things, everywhere from the bottle to the labels. They don't recycle colored plastic like we do in the US, so we had to make a separate clear bottle. We had to do some focus groups to make sure that what we say about water, naturally alkaline, all the talking points for the brand actually resonate in Japan, and which ones resonate the best. And so we confirmed some of the data that we have in the US, and then we found some totally different data. Just a small thing, for example, is like they in Japan, a lot of water, they want you to talk about a soft mouth feel, not a hard mouth feel, because a hard mouth feel is associated more with functional waters that don't taste as good. Whereas here, just both of those things kind of sound weird in marketing materials. So those kind of things were great to have such awesome partners. Hawaii is pretty close to Japan, is pretty culturally tied. So we've had an easier road getting some partnerships. The affinity for Hawaii for people who haven't been but live in Japan is 99%, which is higher than the affinity for people who have been, which is 97%. So there's just a lot of admiration for Hawaii there, and we've made sure to try to do it carefully. The first store that we've launched in that we're live in now is Natural Lawson. So Lawson is one of the three big convenience store players in Japan. Convenience store culture is huge there. Natural Lawson is obviously the natural version of that, where our water fits in great. And then there's another store that's more of a traditional store that we'll be launching in early July called Seijo Ishi. So it's been great. We've been using a lot of our Hawaii content creators and content, but we've done it with our Japan bottle. And then we've also started to integrate some Japan creators and ambassadors. We have a consultant for marketing in Japan who's been awesome. She helps us translate everything, make sure it's not just the Google translation or the AI translation, but that it actually makes sense, that in Japan they use Chinese characters and Japanese characters so that it's the right characters and everything. So it's a detailed culture. We have to be as accurate as we can. We have to make sure everything looks awesome, but it's a great market for us, fourth biggest economy in the world, and great cultural ties to Hawaii. So just the beginning for us, starting in summer when it's over 90 degrees there in Tokyo, and then we'll be hopefully rolling out throughout the country over the next few years.
This episode of Beyond the Shelf is brought to you by It's Rapid. It's Rapid is the platform Pepsi, Mondelez, Instacart, and hundreds of other leading brands and retailers use to build personalized content at scale. Whether that's images, videos, or product descriptions for their product detail pages, shoppable videos or banners for their digital ad campaigns, or sell sheets for sales enablement, brands that use It's Rapid are able to produce high-quality, on-brand content on average more than 80% faster than category competitors. To find out more, please visit itsrapid.ai.
Love the insights on everything from the kind of focus groups all the way to the messaging and then the launch strategy itself. Tell us about ecom in Japan. How is that part of your strategy, and how did you go about the launch for that part of the go to market?
Yeah, so Amazon will be launching in Japan in July, hopefully by the end of July. So we decided to start with Amazon because of our Amazon presence in the US. Amazon and Rakuten are the two big e-commerce players in Japan. Rakuten is a little more specialized, and we didn't have any inherent knowledge. We didn't have our reviews. We have over 11,000 reviews on Amazon. So we're starting with a good base there in Japan. And then just relationship-wise, our importer has a strong relationship with Amazon. Hopefully we'll be available in all major stores and channels, but with a specific bottle that we have to produce to the market, and we also have to meet the demands currently domestically in the US, we had to pick which channels to start with, which channels to spend the budget on. We feel very confident in Amazon, and it gives us the ability to be purchased anywhere in Japan while we do regional rollouts with some of the strong retail partners.
Super interesting. Congrats on getting that going. I want to switch gears a little bit. You touched on this at the beginning, but tell us about this brand ambassador program and these brand ambassadors that you have. What all does that involve?
Yeah, so I mean, we've been really lucky that the brand stands out to a lot of people, including famous people, including famous athletes. Every athlete drinks water, and most of them are told that they don't drink enough and they need to drink more. That sounds simple enough, but when it becomes their size and it's 3 liters, 4 liters a day, and it's a water you don't really like, and then you taste the water that you do like, it makes a big difference to them, and bigger than you'd think for people who are making millions, sometimes hundreds of millions of dollars. We deliver it to their house. We deliver it to where they are. They don't have to go to the store. Their significant others don't have to go to the store and bring back 10 cases of water. And then they get to know the brand and understand that there might be an investment opportunity in a growing beverage brand. And so we've been lucky to secure people like, well, first it was Colton Wong, who's a local baseball player from Hilo, 2-time Gold Glove Award winner. And he really set the tone. So having somebody who's the best known athlete from our hometown where the brand is from in Hilo, Hawaii, really helped. Colton's agent, our same agency as Aaron Judge, We also started working with other major leaguers, which led us to, ironically, Myles Garrett in the NFL, who we've been working with for now over 5 years. Other opportunities led to Klay Thompson, but it all comes down to them loving the product, drinking a lot of water. They always want us to send them the water. That's how you know it's a real ambassadorship, is we'll get text messages from the agents, hey, can we send the water? We need to make sure they have it for A, B, or C. So then they decided to invest and also become brand ambassadors. And so that's the best of both worlds for us, because as a growing brand, we need more capital, not to be spending all of our capital on people who already make millions of dollars, right? So we've been able to create this structure where we don't take a lot of their time. They're able to really influence the brand with the time that they do spend with us. It really helps us from retail POS, from online with ads. It allows us to be a lot more regional. And then also it allows us to save the money to pay the Hawaiian content creators that we work with that are full-time content creators, or maybe professional surfers that don't have as many sponsorships, that actually need the money because that's how they make their living, versus maybe a steak dinner for somebody who's super rich athlete, but they see the opportunity instead of, hey, let me get a steak dinner and some water. Let me see if I can plant a long-term legacy for myself and for my financials. So we've been lucky on that side. Ryan's, our CEO, has been great at securing the investments with the ambassadors. They've been awesome partners, the athletes, to allow us to market their name, image, likeness. So highly recommend that any brand that's growing and they find some people that really love the product, they find some partnerships that they can lean in on that don't take a lot of capital but can really help grow the brand and then also make the other person successful as well.
Sounds amazing, and incredible job sort of building the network there. You mentioned kind of how people consume this product. Tell us about that. You've got your online, you've got ads online, you've got folks buying this in store. How do you think about that when it comes to regionality that you mentioned before and some of the other marketing approaches that you take?
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit tricky because everyone always says who's your target consumer, and everybody does drink water, and some people want to spend a couple dollars on a premium product for water, but they're not going to spend a bunch of money on a Ferrari or a super nice car, right? So people think and they look at our brand and they say, "Oh, you probably have a lot of rich yoga moms and soccer moms who buy your water." And yes, that may be true, but if you look at like our Amazon, even just our Amazon online, which is, it's over $30 a case, you'll have 25% that are making over 250,000, and you'll have 25% who are making less than 75,000. So there's a big gap on Amazon, and then we see that in retail as well. People would think Whole Foods is just by far and away our best channel. It's a great channel for us. We really like that retail store. But also the bodegas in New York are selling water like crazy. Up and down the street in Detroit, a lot of the convenience stores are selling Waiākea really, really well. So we make sure that our content is authentic to us and to Hawaii, and then just appropriate for the audience. We don't want to make a LinkedIn style ad on TikTok or something stupid like that. It's always appropriate to the channel. But yeah, we found that there are so many different people who have an affinity to our water for so many different reasons that we try to do our best to make sure that our content not necessarily speaks to all of them, but is true to ourselves so that they can relate to it.
Really well said. So I want to switch gears. AI and automation are part of every conversation right now. Tell us where you're seeing the opportunity. How are you using AI at Waiākea, and what can our listeners maybe learn from that?
Yeah, so I mean, recently over the last year, I started taking over the technology at Waiākea, so I'm in a unique kind of position to comment on AI from the org and then also from the marketing department. One of the big strategies that we've had in our digital transformation is trying to democratize the use of AI to enable our everyday employees. So we are a Google Suite company. We have Gemini Pro for all of our people. And while that maybe hasn't solved every single problem or allowed them to automate their entire job, it has given them more tools than they had before. So whether it's creating a reference image to show like how a tool is not fitting properly at the plant, or to create like spreadsheets faster, to analyze spreadsheets faster, to solve a problem with the printer so that they don't have to create a ticket and wait for somebody from IT. So there's all kinds of uses where the democratization has helped. And then we also use Claude to connect to our NetSuite and all of our data sources for a lot of our leadership teams. So that's more by department. Each department kind of has access to Claude to do some of the more sophisticated things. And so e-commerce related on that and more on the operational side is what we were able to do with Claude and Amazon is we took all of the zip codes where our sell-through is for Amazon, loaded that into Claude, had it check our NetSuite inventory for warehouses and where we're storing our Amazon product. And it had recommended some adjustments to store more in our Pennsylvania and Texas warehouses and less in the California warehouse based on the sell-through numbers that we had year to date. So it's kind of a geeky way. It's not creating the perfect video that converted everybody, but we haven't found AI to be successful for that yet. In terms of marketing, we found it successful for thought starters, for copy starting, for generating a list of 10, 20, 30 ideas, making different iterations of comps, testing different colors, things like that. Maybe testing a little bit of copywriting, but we really have to have the human touch on all the designs, all the final copy, and then our whole program is based on hiring content creators, and that's how we get so much of our community building in Hawaii is through real content creators that we work with. And there's a lot of photographers and content creators in Hawaii who will tell you, yes, I've worked with Waiākea before, and we want to keep it that way. We don't want to replace them with AI, and then there's less people in Hawaii who can afford to live there and afford to drink our water and everything. So we're trying to find the right balance of where it's helpful for our employees, where it's doing the things that are keeping them up or keeping them there late. And so far, I would say definitely hasn't been perfect, but we've been pretty aligned as an organization, and we are seeing some advantages from AI, and we're also seeing some areas where we are confident that not using it is the right move.
All right, Daniel, I've got so many more questions I could ask, but I'm going to take us to our rapid rundown. A few fast-paced questions. Just give us your quick thoughts. First off, your favorite Waiākea product.
It's our 700 milliliter Ocean Flask U. It's the perfect size, fits in a cup holder. Drink 3 or 4 of those a day, and you're perfectly hydrated.
Love it. One consumer trend you're paying close attention to right now.
TikTok Shop. It's been a tricky one to convert for Beverage. We can get a lot of traffic from it, but actually getting it to pay off has been a little tricky. So that's one trend. We'll see how it catches on and how many brands are able to be successful there.
Great insight. What's the most underrated place in Hawaii?
It's got to be the Big Island. We've got black sand beaches, green sand beaches. We've got rain, waterfalls, paradise over in Kona. Hilo's got amazing town, amazing people. Often overlooked for Kauai, Maui, or Oahu, but a great place to go explore.
And when you're not building Waiākea, how do you like to unwind?
I like to coach baseball. I like to be outside, active with the kids, anything sports related to, get my mind off things, be in nature, get some sunshine.
Sounds great. And what's the best way for our audience to find out more about Waiākea and reach you?
Waiākea.com or our Instagram or TikTok. We do have a Win a Trip to Hawaii sweepstakes going on right now in retail. There's no purchase necessary. You can find out more information on our website to enter. And LinkedIn or Daniel@Waiākea.com would be the best way to get a hold of me.
All right. Daniel Kleinkopf from Waiākea. What a great story. We got to talk about content. We got to talk about the founding story of the company. We covered the nonprofit. And of course, we touched on Hawaii. So what's not to love about this story? Thanks for joining us here today on Beyond the Shelf. And I hope you'll come back soon.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me. I had a great time.
That's it for this week's episode of Beyond the Shelf. If you enjoy the show, be sure to like, subscribe, and leave us a review. It really helps us grow. And feel free to share us with your colleagues so they too can hear weekly perspectives from the brightest minds in e-commerce. You can also check us out on LinkedIn, where we post clips from each episode, share Dave's takes on breaking industry news, and much more. Beyond the Shelf is a production of It's Rapid. Our host is Dave Feinlieb, and our producer is Jake Musiker. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time on Beyond the Shelf.